And we are the Y'all Show, talk with a Southern accent. Hope you're doing well as we continue it on with the show that covers everything Southern. And we want to remind you to please go to y'all.com, the homepage of the South, and bookmark y'all.com. We have lots of great stuff. We'll continue to add more and more stuff at the homepage of the South. And unless you make a mental note to go check it out, bookmark it and do that mental note too. And don't miss out on anything. And if you've been a longtime fan of y'all.com and our Y'all Show interviews, then you probably know very well our next guest on the program because he is the Toccopola Storyteller. We haven't spoken to the Toccopola Storyteller this entire year. So we are going to bring him on, Jerry Short, to find out what's going on in Toccopola. And Jerry, as we welcome you back into the Y'all Show, hopefully you're doing well. And you, pardon the pun, I guess you and the rest of the South, we've kind of been biding our time.
Yeah, it's a play on words. So let's talk let's talk about Toccopola. We had our first newborn this of 2021,
Is that right?
and yes, that's true. And Ms. McCullough had triplets, so those triplets put us to 201. So we're looking forward to maybe getting a new, not a Walmart, but maybe a Dollar General. And
I had to start it out talking a little politics. Did everybody in Toccopola vote for the current president?
uh, for just by riding around or walking around and looking at people's faces, I hadn't seen many smiles.
Okay.
So I think they must have voted for the outgoing president.
Number
That would,
45, that is.
that would be my opinion. That 45 went out and 46 came in as the new baby.
Yeah, there you go. All right, Jerry. Well, we have you on to talk about a little bit of everything in the South. You're our storyteller. We give you that title for a
Yeah.
reason. You've been around. You've seen a lot of these elections and stuff. And going back, you've seen some of this foolishness of the last couple of weeks and stuff. Is everybody on Toccopola on the edge of the seat? Is there something you can compare it to in past times?
Well, if you go back, of course, Toccopola in the good old days, we got all our news media was covered by the commercial appeal out of Memphis, Tennessee. And everybody got what we thought was fair coverage.
Mm-hmm.
And have we've gone high tech semi like the rest of the country here at Toccopola, we kind of been misled down that primrose path. Um, Thought things were going to be a lot better and a lot different, and they turned out. So looks like we're going to have to live with 4 years that we didn't want to live with, but it's here, and I don't know what we can do about it, but work our way through it. It's going to be kind of hard the way we think here. Um, we don't have a lot of the type things that this new administration is calling for and plan on doing. So we're probably going to go back to acting like we did in the 50s when I just have to go over to the blacksmith shop and beat on that anvil and make me a bit for that old Burton Blue mule so I could go plow. That's kind of what it's looking like now. I
Yeah.
had to put a little wire around that bit.
Well, we do like to
So,
talk to you about historic things and such. So I'll just pick 1976, the year that a Republican who necessarily wasn't following up with a full term because he took over for Nixon, but he lost to Jimmy Carter in the 76 election. What was it like when Jimmy Carter took over president?
well,
A southern boy at that.
now that kind of divided us, to tell you the truth,
Did it?
because we had been Democrats in the South up until 76. And that's about the time we started changing. But what we changed with Kennedy, he was a Democrat. And a lot of people changed then. And people were for Barry Goldwater. Most everybody was a Barry Goldwater supporter. But when we got to 76, even though Jimmy Carter was supposedly a Democrat, quote, quote, one of ours from Georgia, that kind of divided us. I had a little trouble with some of my family members, and I had a grandmother that voted for Jimmy Carter, and me and her would kind of have it around occasionally. I think I made her swallow a few nitro tablets to calm, calm her heartbeat down. But I think she saw the light later on, and
Yeah.
she didn't even like Reagan later. And she finally changed on Reagan in his second term. So that was my mother's mother. She didn't live here in Toccopola. She
Oh,
was from across the other side of the state, kind of over
and
on
that, and
close
that
to the.
warped her evidently.
That pardon.
That warped her thinking.
I think so, and a lot of people was warped by Jimmy Carter. He didn't do the things that we were expecting him to do in the South. I know he certainly didn't do what I was hoping, and the people I worked for, he didn't do what they were hoping, and our economy kind of went down. Interest rates got up pretty doggone high. When he was elected, they was high, so I can't give him all the blame for it.
Yeah.
But it got to 20% his first year, and of course we all know about what happened with the situation in the desert when he was trying to rescue the hostages, and he tried to call that from the White House, and Colonel Beckwith was leading a Delta Force in,
Mm-hmm.
and they kind of had a helicopter and a C-130 bumped together and exploded and had to get out and abort the mission. And, it would just seem like one thing after another with Jimmy Carter. So that divided us considerably since you brought a year up.
Yeah. Well, I also wanted to get your take. I'm trying to compare what we're seeing right now with what's happened in recent times with a Democrat taking over after a Republican has been in office. So we'll go to 1993 when Clinton took over for George H.W. Bush. And what was that transition? Was it quite as shocking in 93 as it was in 77 when Carter took over?
Well, Carter was not that popular in our part of the country either. I meant Clinton. He was kind of like Carter. And the situation with us in this part of the country around Toccopola, Clinton didn't care this area. And Clinton, as a matter of fact, I had a lot of friends that was in the National Guard that got out Clinton's second term because they said they didn't want him as their commander-in-chief. So he wasn't one of our favorite ones. As a matter of fact, we've kind of hadn't really, we kind of got behind Bush, and then we weren't behind Obama's administration. And then we had kind of come back around thinking that the situation had been turned back to what we were used to, what we wanted and what we liked under President Trump. But we only got 4 years of that to find out. And so I don't think the job was finished. And so we're just going to have to wait now 4 more years of Biden and Harris administration.
You're biding your time, like I said.
You put the play on the word, and it hit dead center bullseye. So,
well, not everybody, Jerry, not everybody in Toccopola exactly thrilled with the new president. And for those people who aren't exactly thrilled, this comes along with the fact that the coronavirus has been so devastating. Hopefully you've come through that process. We haven't actually seen you in quite some time here at y'all.com. Hopefully you're doing well. And then to add on even more, Jerry, and this is how we're going to wrap up our conversation with you, we're going to talk about the loss of something very close to you over this last couple of months. As if the other things weren't hard enough already. This one just might have been the icing on the cake. But let's first have you talk about the virus. How's everything in Toccopola in terms of that?
Okay. Well, the virus has been, it really hasn't, we've kind of been normal because we actually don't have, that many things right here that it would have affect. So we've gone on with our farming. we've gone on with raising cattle, and we've gone along with horses, and we, the stores are, you wear your mask in the store, you shop, you go out, and basically that's about all the virus has done to us. We've lost one older person, but as far as the youth had been spared. We played sports. We've been out, and we hadn't been locked down, and that's a good thing. And we didn't want to be locked down, and thank goodness they didn't lock us down. There was a few times that we always abided by the space and the mask and proper places, but if we weren't in those places, we were kind of normal. And
that's good news.
That's about all I can tell you about the virus, because it almost, a smaller town like this, even in the surrounding towns, I know people in almost every town in North Mississippi, and I have lost older friends that are old as I am or a little older, but not that many. A handful, and that's a handful too many. Yeah. But we lost them, and you never know. It could have been because of something else, but it's listed as a virus. But
we're talking with Jerry Short here on the Y'all Show, the show that covers everything Southern. Y'all.com is our homepage. Again, bookmark it. Go to it every single day to catch up with more stories, more videos from across the Southland. And if you're catching us via YouTube, please subscribe to our y'all.com on YouTube so that you won't miss out on any of the fun. And we want to hear from you. Y'all.com, again, the homepage of the South. Jerry, as I kind of set it up, you, in addition to having to deal with politics in the last couple of months, of which some of that may have caused some heartbreak and heartache, also, you've had to deal with the virus, and maybe the killer of all, you lost something very, very close to you over these last few months. Fill us in, please.
Well, that's true. If you're a pet lover, you'll understand where I'm coming from. I was working out on the Nueces River north of Laredo at Cotulla, Texas, and there was a Border Patrol dog that had as a puppy was being trained, and he got loose, and he was loose in the swamp, in the Nueces River swamp. And I worked that area under security for coyotes, the kind that bring people into the country, and mess with the pipeline company equipment that I was working for that. And I came across a dog that was really scared and stayed back in the swamp. And I finally, some of the trucks that we had, a lot of people had tacos and things like that, they'd leave. And I started throwing them at this dog. And the dog finally started coming to me. And then he rode with me at night when I was securing the areas. And got real close. I ended up putting the dog in a vet up around San Antonio, and it actually cost more a day than I cost to live.
Did you give the dog a name?
I did. I called that dog TEX, capital T, Tex. And, and so I was so fond of the dog that I still did some of that work. I took the dog back home, and I let my family have the dog. And the grandkids that's been about 10 years, 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. They got really close to the dog. And the dog, unfortunately, the demise came quick, went to the vet, but it was accidentally ran over, and we lost the dog. And it probably hurt me worse than any animal I've ever lost.
And that's happened in the last few months?
That happened, yes, it happened after Thanksgiving. And it really bothered me. So I've been out trying to find a similar looking dog that I want to keep for myself this time.
Similar in what way did this dog,
And
was it?
well, that dog was probably about 2.5 feet tall. He was a blonde looking dog, kind of more of a tan with some white on it, white on his chest, white stocking feet. And I noticed those dogs a lot at checkpoints.
I mean,
On the
is it a
Mexican
German
border.
Shepherd?
No, it wasn't a German Shepherd. It's a mixed breed, and I think it may have had some lab and collie. That's just my guess. But they didn't know the Texas A&M. They put a chip in it where I could keep up with you, and they did everything vaccinated and took care of the dog. But they didn't tell me the exact breed because it was actually a mixed breed. But they did say that they used those dogs to train on the border to sniff out drugs. And so the dog was real smart. So I'm looking for a dog. It don't have to be that smart, but I want it to look similar. And I've been going to animal shelters. And look, if you've ever tried to adopt a baby, it's almost as hard to adopt a dog. They have forms you have to fill out. I've got to pass, almost passed. I've almost got to. I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna pass or not. To tell you the truth, that's the last form I filled out. It was so detailed. You have to even tell who your vet is. You have to tell how many people live in your dwelling. Who would be there if you're not there to take care of it? Have you had any pets before? I could go on all day. I mean, it's like you've taken the census to adopt a dog.
What's the most personal question on there?
Well, let's see. How many dogs you have had? How did you treat those dogs? Did you give them veterinarian help if they ever needed it? Stuff that a good dog owner would do anyway. So, to me, I took it a little personal, but I'm sure there's people out there that are looking. As I've been going to these animal rescue shelters, I've saw a lot of different type dogs, from pit bulls to collies to small dogs. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure there's people that might get dogs just to use them for a purpose that wouldn't be proper. So, I can understand some of those questions they ask. And so I've tried to answer them the best of my ability and try to get the proper veterinarian. And they'll even ask you what type feed you're going to feed the dog. Some of them do. Now, I've been to rescue shelters from North Mississippi to West Tennessee to a little bit in Missouri to over in Arkansas. And all of them have a little different information, but most of them are pretty basic to what I just told you. So if you're out there looking for a dog, and boy, you see some really pretty dogs. I've saw some dogs that I would really love to have if I was not looking for a dog like I had. It looked similar in looks. It's kind of like if you're buying a car, if you're looking for a certain convertible 1995 so-and-so had, I'm looking for one that looks just like that. And that's how it is with this dog situation.
Well,
so that's what, but it hurt me. It hurt my family. My daughter called me crying to tell me that they had lost the dog. It had been at the vet. And the dog was getting a little old because I didn't know how old the dog was when I found the dog. I thought 2 or 3. Maybe we'd had it 10. So it's 13. I think it was losing its hearing a little bit is what caused it to get run over. But anyway, if you're a dog lover, I recommend that you go to an animal shelter and find you a good dog, because there's a lot of good dogs there that I haven't got yet, but I'm looking. So if it's anybody out there in, as they used to say in the 50s, out there in radio or TV land, I'd like to have a dog about 2.5 feet tall
Let's
be
do
a little
some good,
tan.
everybody.
Uh,
Let's help get
let's
text
get
two
me. Let's get text two,
for
and
Jerry.
I think that would be the best present anybody could give me right now, because you do really get close to your animals like that. I've been close to a mule before. The one that would let me ride it now. Old Bert would ride, but Blue wouldn't. So I was close to Bert. That Blue would run you through the barn and knock you out at the door when you went in when I was a boy. But anyway, I appreciate it, and I know it's a little bit off subject, but
No, this is important. Like I said, we started out talking about something that evidently the whole world's caught up with this week, talking politics. So I wanted to get what the take is in Toccopola, USA, but we really want to help you out. If you can help Jerry, if you got the description of the kind of dog he's looking for, hit me up here personally, and I'll share that with Jerry. And you can reach me at y'all.com. You also can call. I've got a number you can call. 803-816-1170 is the number you can call or text if you have a canine that fits the description Jerry's looking for, and help the guy out. He needs a good dog.
And if next time I'm on air, I hope I'm able to say, hey, old Tex 2's right here under my feet, wagging his tail.
And I won't believe it until you let Tex 2 up on your lap and lick you all over the face. Jerry, wonderful to see you again. Wonderful to catch up. But again, Jerry's going to be on here a little bit more frequently. We're going to put you back to work, Jerry, if that's all right. Our Toccopola Storyteller.
Now, talking is something that really doesn't bother me too much. May bother my listeners or your listeners. Let's put it that way. But I'll talk if you'll let me.
We will let you talk here. Unlike Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, we let people talk. We don't censor here at y'all.com. Jerry,
no words.
Thank you very much for coming on the show that's all about the South, Y'all Show, and y'all.com, the South's homepage.
Thank you.
All right. And Jerry will be on again with us at another time. I'm John Rawls signing off. Thank you again for being on y'all.com. We'll have more of the show coming right up, y'all. Stay tuned.